In 2015, I went through a very difficult time. At that time, my father had been in the hospital for over a year, which caused me a lot of worry and anxiety. Although we hired a care worker to take care of him, I visited him in the hospital almost every day. No matter what I was busy with, I would do everything I could to be there for him. It was very hard to see him lying in his hospital bed, his health deteriorating. I clearly remember the depressing atmosphere that enveloped me every time I walked through the hospital doors. When I entered my father's hospital room, I could often smell the drugs and disinfectants. Whenever I saw my father, I always tried to keep a calm expression because I knew he needed me to bring him hope and comfort. Deep down, I also felt very helpless because I could not change his condition and could only be there for him through this difficult phase. One day, when I entered the hospital room again, I felt the tension and heaviness of the atmosphere. I looked at my father and saw his pale face and faint breathing. His body was gradually losing its strength to live. I moved closer to the bedside and gently held his hand. He did his best to smile at me. It was a smile full of love that made the sorrow in my heart become stronger. I knew that he was about to leave this world. In the hospital room, time seemed to freeze. My father's breathing gradually became faint and eventually stopped. He closed his eyes. I sat quietly by the bedside, unable to accept his passing. As my father's only child, I was responsible for planning the funeral all by myself. After he left, I was under tremendous financial pressure and emotional burden. For a long time, I would lose sleep at night. During the time after my father's death, I would often dream about him. In the dreams, he appeared in various images, sometimes as he was when he was young, and sometimes when he smiled for the last time. These dreams brought me mixed emotions. A year later, things finally started to get better for me. At that time, I had a girlfriend. We worked hard for our future life. To achieve our common goal, I found 2 jobs. Living an intense and full life every day, I had little time to relax and rest. During that time, I would often stay up late working. Such efforts eventually took their toll on me. One day, due to long hours of work, I suddenly collapsed at home. At that time, I lost consciousness. At the moment of unconsciousness, I was surrounded by a peaceful light. I felt an overwhelmingly warm force surrounding me. I was floating on top of my body. I looked closely at my hand, which emitted a faint white light and was translucent white in color. The upper half of my body resembled a human, but when I looked down, I was surprised to see that I did not see legs, but something that looked like a tail. This tail was long and thin and soft, and the surface of the tail looked very smooth and emitted a soft glow. Its presence made me feel a special power, as if I had merged with some mysterious force. As I floated above my body, I began to think about whether I would be able to pass through the ceiling. I decided to give it a try. I began to move slowly upward. As I passed through the attic, I felt some resistance, but it did not stop me from continuing my ascent. When I reached the attic, I saw a woman who was sitting there with tears wetting her face. Our forms looked very similar. I wasn't sure who this woman was, but I knew she was experiencing some kind of grief. My heart was filled with compassion. I could communicate with her through my thoughts. She told me she couldn't find her way home. I told her, "Don't worry, we will find our way home." Sometimes we lose our way, but it is important that we don't give up hope. Together we can explore our surroundings and look for any clues and guidance to help her find her way home. I told her that I wanted her to leave here with me. The woman stopped crying. I gently extended my hand to her and invited her to leave the attic with me. We soon came over the city. The view of the city was completely different from that of real life. And the colors I saw were more vibrant and full of life than usual. Every color glowed brightly. The sky was bluer and the trees were greener. Everything was infused with vivid colors, creating a beautiful scene. Over the city, I saw human beings were as busy as ants. The cars on the streets seemed to be moving like insects, and the cars came in a variety of colors. The whole city was full of energy. We came above a hospital. An old man appeared in front of us, and he flew toward us with a lightness. I saw that he was still wearing his hospital clothes. We greeted him. The old man was smiling and he told us that he had died of lung cancer and now he was preparing to return to his other home. I asked the old man if you could take us with you. My partner was also looking for a way to return home. The old man smiled and nodded his head. He was willing to take us with him to his destination. He explained that this home is the place where all souls belong. Led by the old man, we flew toward our destination. During the flight, we talked with the old man and shared our experiences and feelings with each other. The old man told us that he used to be a workaholic and always pursued success in his career. He devoted most of his time to his work in order to chase higher status and greater achievements. Although he achieved a lot in his career, at the end of his life, he realized that none of this mattered anymore. He felt great regret that he did not spend enough time with his family and did not take care of his health. Due to the tremendous pressure of his work, he became more and more addicted to smoking. He was diagnosed with lung cancer at the age of 71. The old man sighed deeply and confessed to us that he was very remorseful. In the journey of life, the most important thing is to care for your family and take care of your physical and mental health. Suddenly, a huge archway appeared in front of us. The door glowed brightly as if it were the door to happiness. As we approached this door, a warm atmosphere filled the air. The old man stopped and gazed at the door as he exclaimed, "Thank God that I can continue to live here." Some of the old man's relatives stood in front of the door, their faces brimming with joy and anticipation. They gazed tenderly at the old man. The old man smiled and walked toward his relatives, and they hugged each other. After he said goodbye to us, he and his relatives walked through the door. I noticed that the lady with me was acting very frustrated. Just then, an old man came toward us. When the lady saw his appearance, she suddenly let out a roar of excitement and her eyes were filled with tears and joy. The old man was her grandfather. They gazed at each other and could hardly hide their inner joy. The two embraced each other tightly. Her grandfather waved to me and invited me to enter the door with him. I was very curious about what was inside that door. I agreed to their invitation. However, just as I was about to enter the door, an angel appeared in front of me. The angel said to me, "Even though your name is in the book of life, this is not the time for you to enter. You still have a mission to complete. Please return to Earth and continue your journey through life." I felt very lost and confused. I looked at the lady and her grandfather. The lady nodded understandingly, and her grandfather smiled gently at me. I said to the angel, "Can I meet my father? He passed away a year ago." The angel replied, "Sorry, I can't help you with that wish. What you need to know is that your father is doing very well now, and he is free from pain and trouble. He is enjoying endless peace and happiness in heaven. Although I cannot grant your wish to meet here and now, you will be reunited again in the near future. Even though I cannot see my father with my own eyes, it is enough for me to know that he is doing well in heaven. Just at this time, another angel came close to us. She smiled at me and gently extended her arm. She told me that it was time to go back. I held her hand tightly and prepared to return to the real world. As the angel led me, I felt my body lighten up and began to cross the barriers of space and time. A warm energy surrounded me, as if a pair of invisible hands were guiding me. I felt myself being gently caressed, as if I were surrounded by a soft cloud. This energy made me feel very comfortable. I felt myself begin to reconnect with the material world. I felt myself breathing, as if I had the power of life again. I began to perceive the sounds and light around me, and they gradually became clearer. Finally, I felt a slight vibration, as if a pulsation of energy had penetrated my body. This energy gradually subsided and I returned to my body. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself lying in a familiar bed. I took a deep breath and gazed gratefully at my surroundings. After experiencing this event, I had a new understanding of life. I realized that no matter how brilliantly I achieve in my career, the company of my family and my healthy body are the most important things. Whenever I am under stress, I will think of what that old man said to me. I began to pay more attention to my health, improve my habits and let go of unhealthy hobbies. I learned to take care of my body so that I would have more energy to take care of my family and pursue my true dreams and happiness. It's been 5 years since this incident and that experience has become a precious memory in my life. My girlfriend, who is now my wife, and I welcomed our own child 3 years ago. Although we are still living in a rented apartment, we are very happy. Over the years, we have learned the importance of family, and we have learned the meaning of mutual understanding and support. We no longer chase after material possessions, but focus on the warmth of family. We understand that time is so precious to us, so we cherish the time we have with our family. We create our own happy moments together in our rented cabin. We understand that happiness does not lie in the amount of wealth, but in the emotional ties and intimacy between us. We run our family with heart and soul, embracing and supporting with love. In the past 5 years, I have become a better husband and father. I put my family first, spend more time with them, and feel the endless joy and happiness they bring me. We have spent many wonderful moments together. Whenever I look at the smiling faces of my family, I deeply understand that the words of that old man have changed my outlook on life.